Hello, everybody. It is currently 2:05 p.m. For me, it's 2:05 p.m. for Mr. Alex Sevigny, right?
Let's pronounce 78, but
70,
pretty
78?
close. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Sevigny. So, for Mr. Alex Sevigny, it is currently what, like 1:06 p.m.?
It's actually 2:06 here.
Oh, okay. Then I
Must
guess
be
we're in the same
3:06 your time.
No, it's actually 2:06 p.m. That's really weird.
Oh, whoa.
I thought we were in different time zones, but there we go. But guys, it has been way too long. It's been almost a month since our last anatomy podcast session in which we did that with Jordan Milner from the breathing process. Today, we're doing things a little bit differently because not like basically we have a different side of the music business as well as someone who creates. We have this dude, he's like helping hand alongside bands such as Planet Killer, the White Bear Project, Divine Destruction, and the Litterbox Massacre. Like he's involved with all of these various projects. I'm not sure if of your like involvement with let's see, Plague Promotions. I think it is. Like I'm not sure if you have a helping hand in that or anything, but I have a feeling that you do.
Yes, that's one of my friends' Facebook groups, actually. So Bryce, the vocalist from Divine Destruction, set that up. So I'm always out posting in that group and stuff.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So we got this little community, all these various bands basically interconnected by this man. So, Mr. Alex, we on the Anatomy podcast have two different sections in which the first half, I'm not sure if you've had the opportunity to check out previous episodes. If not, that's why I'm saying this now. Basically, the first half, we learn about you as a person. We learn about you as a creative individual, what you've been doing, what you've been up to. And basically, in the second half, we will be talking about all the projects you're involved with. Basically, kind of going back into Plague Promotions later on, talking about everything that you're planning to do in the future. Of course, like, keeping things quiet, keeping things under wraps, just like vague little, oh yeah, I might be working with these dudes or something like that. And we'll go from there. So, right off the bat, sir, Mr. Alex, tell us all you can about yourselves. Take all the time in the world. Boom, bada, bang, baby.
All right. So yeah, I'm Alex. I like to make metal music and work with musicians. Um, Damn, it's such a broad question. I got to think a little bit. But yeah,
Basically, all like the elementary questions, like where are you from? Where did you grow up in? Like, and then we'll be going into like what got you into music? Were there any bands or artists? That type of thing. But kind of without going 50 miles per hour verbally. Where did you come from? Where did you grow up? Anything that you loved doing when you were younger? Boom, bada, bang. There you go.
right on. So I've been in British Columbia my whole life. If anyone is unaware, it's the westernmost province in Canada.
Hmm.
So we're basically right above Washington.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, we got a lot of mountains and trees, forests, rivers, that sort of thing. And so, yeah, right now I live in a place called Kelowna, which is the largest city outside of like the Vancouver region.
Oh.
But it's definitely on the smaller side, so it's nice and kind of like tight knit community. There's a few other musicians out here too, which is nice.
Yeah, especially in our scene, which is always really cool. It seems that like Canada, like let's see, Northwest Canada, and kind of going along Canada and going into the Northeast sections of the United States, really, basically everywhere that's more northern. Like it seems like there's a lot more prominent things going on musically and in the music scene. But back to you instead of like reviewing over the whole universe of things that we got going on. Um, let's see. Questions. Like, what's your birthday? Like that type of stuff.
yeah. Yeah, I'm a summer baby. I was born in June, so I love the summer. It's probably my favorite season.
Oh, really?
Um, yeah. So I don't even mind when it gets like super hot. I know some people hate the summer because it's too hot, but I
Yep.
used to be. I hate winter.
Really? Well, I mean,
Yeah,
okay. The
we get a
thing
lot of
is,
snow up here, so
yeah, exactly. And the thing is, I also live in one of the only states that doesn't regularly get summer. I'm not in the South, but I'm in Arizona. So
Oh,
notorious
okay.
for triple digit weather most of the middle of the year, which is like the more prominent part of the year. And so I'm like, if I could go up just one state up north, I'd probably be decently happy with life as far as like the year-round weather cycle. But now I get it. If you're like in a state where it's blizzardous, then it's like, I could do without all the excessive snow blanketing and just burying all the tree lines, not being able to go outside. I can only imagine that's a different level of, oh yeah, it's a little bit cold outside. You're like, no, I'm getting buried, man. I'm getting
Yeah,
buried.
straight up. Oh, and then driving in the snow and stuff. It's just, it gets to be kind of a nightmare.
Right, right. And yeah, therefore, I have yet to explore to those type of areas and be like, oh, okay, I get what everybody means. This is awful. like, but let's see. Growing up, obviously, you're involved in all the projects that you are now. So you're in the scene. You're involved with like multiple bands, which is really cool, creatively and like producing wise, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, there you
definitely.
go. So you're basically taking both sides of the coin and you're constantly just flipping that. And not only that, but you have multiple coins that you're just trying to juggle around and you've mastered it. So there you go.
Oh,
Um,
thank you, man.
yeah, of course. You got it, man. But if anything, growing up, besides music, were there any other hobbies that you were looking to get into? Maybe sports or different creative mediums that might have had you taking a completely different path in life?
So I used to play hockey actually. I wasn't like super good at it, but maybe in another life I would have played the shit out of it and gone somewhere with that. But
Right. Yeah, there you
um,
go.
I like video games a lot growing up too. So I mean, I could maybe see myself going into video game development in another
Ooh.
life as well.
Yeah, no, that's really cool.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. And I mean, I'm trying to do like a gaming channel and a music channel and then like possibly a paranormal investigation channel. So like definitely
Ooh,
different avenues. Yeah. That should be
that's
really
super
groovy.
cool.
Yeah, if I can get it, if I can get good equipment and stuff like that, that should be really fun. Let's see. What got you into music?
So my dad is a musician. He's played guitar like his whole life. And when I was like 4 years old, he bought me like a miniature acoustic guitar
Ooh.
and just gave it to me. And he'd always bring me to his gigs and stuff. So I was almost just indoctrinated in music from a very young age, you could say.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, when I say I started playing guitar when I was four, it makes it sound like I should be way better than I am. But I've been at it a while.
Yeah, been at it since the beginning, basically. Straight out of the womb, you decided to get into music, or you, as you said, were indoctrinated into music.
Yeah.
What type of genre was your old man playing?
She likes like blues, rock and roll,
Ooh,
like
okay.
classic rock, that sort of thing.
And definitely there's a big genre gap. Like everything came from blues, really, but that's definitely a different time. That's a different musical atmosphere. But yeah, gotta love blues, gotta love jazz, gotta love all that fun stuff because literally everything came from that. And then rock and roll, metal, and death metal, and then well, now what we're doing, now what we're trying to cook up for our fellow listeners, our massive audience and millions of bands. It's crazy, but okay. So you got into guitar when you were about 4, and you're just like, okay, this is pretty cool. My dad's doing it too. Let's do it. Um, Going into the whole process of developing as a guitarist, were there any staple guitarists out there in the world that really got you into it, where it wasn't just, oh, my dad's getting into it, my dad wants me to do this. It's like, oh, I actually do want to do this. Sounds really groovy, sounds really fun because of these dudes. Like, who are your icons per se as far as guitarists?
So yeah, I'd say like my dad's definitely been a huge inspiration. Also, I always liked stuff like Led Zeppelin, like 70s rock. So I guess Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin was a big inspiration like early on. And then when I started getting into metal, my first metal band was like Slipknot, as like probably a lot of people can relate to.
Yep.
And I just like Mick Thompson, just with his big scary mask and his like BC Rich guitars back in the day, just like
Exactly.
I heard and saw that shit and I was just awestruck. I was like, I gotta be that.
Yeah, yeah. And that's, dude, guaranteed. There are so many musicians out there, whether vocalists, drummers, guitarists, synth players, keg drum beaters, I guess. Like, no matter what, man, you got all of the 9 that are in that band. And, they're still kicking it. They've been doing that since 1999. But I'm not even kidding. Almost every single episode of this podcast, except maybe the last one, people have been like, yeah, Slipknot. That's kind of where I came from. Slipknot, Linkin Park, Korn,
Oh yeah.
Led
Oh
Zeppelin. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And
Big time.
that's how you know, man. That's how you know that stuff is historic. Like, even if you don't like it, you got to recognize the white dudes with the dreads, Korn. You got to recognize the 9-member band that wear masks, and they've been changing their mask every record, so they have like now 6 or 7 different mask styles that they're doing, and now like they're looking to start their new album, kickstart that, and after that they're ditching the massive record label they've been with for a long time. With I think their next record is actually going to be Look Outside Your Window. That's the next one, and then I think they're going to leave Roadrunner after that, and I'm thinking they're going to retire here pretty soon. But something about, like, I think the record label was actually wanting them to ditch the masks, and they're like, no, that's basically what Slipknot is,
That's their whole thing. Yeah.
That's their whole gig. It's basically a Halloween party as a band. And they just all go nuts. But yeah, like that's really cool. Getting into metal, Slipknot. Let's see. I can see a lot of Born of Osiris in the background, which is actually really cool.
Oh, yeah. That's my favorite band, probably, like, hands down. They were the first band to get me into like core, like metalcore, deathcore.
Yeah.
So I'd listen to Slipknot and new metal, and then one day in like high school science class, my friend's just like, yo, check this shit. And he plays Bow Down by Born of Osiris.
Mm.
And it just like blew my mind. I was like, holy shit, this is awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And basically, what's funny too is I'm actually trying to get them on the podcast, like one of these next episodes or so. But I think because they're about to go on tour, communication with their management has been a little bit weird. But yeah, no, they might actually be on the podcast pretty soon, which is absolutely phenomenal. And I'm definitely going to tell, for example, them that you said hi, because I have a feeling, man, that, with 2, let's see, you got a wall flag, and then you got a little poster, like really, really colorful art pieces for sure. Did you have a chance to listen to Angel or Alien yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There are some great songs on that album.
Good.
Like, I'm really hyped on it.
Good. More than happy to hear. And there you go, like bands like Born of Osiris, Slipknot, you got you said Led Zeppelin before, right? I was remembering that correctly?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Led Zeppelin, and then his own old man, which, like, that's on another level for, like, growing up, getting into music, and wanting to become a musician, is when you have musical background and family. Like, that's the coolest thing ever. So, were there any records, if anything, I'll go ahead and just throw this at you. Top 5 records. Boom, go.
Oh, I'll keep it in the like inspirational vein.
Yes.
Try to remember like pivotal ones growing up, but definitely Slipknot self-titled.
Mm-hmm.
That album, I'll throw Volume 3 on there too, because that one was always huge. Born of Osiris, The New Rain fits in there well. After the Burial, Rare Form, gotta shout that one out too. And then, man, I'm trying to think about what I was listening to when I was younger.
No pressure.
Just say Id by Veil of Maya too.
Veil of Maya's bomb,
amazing.
Dude.
Oh yeah.
I am so excited when they start like actually promoting their upcoming record, because we've had 2 singles so far, and usually this is just like instinct for me. I've noticed it's like either 2 or 3 singles and then boom, the album. So I'm hyped for when they release their 3rd single. But
me too.
Yeah.
Outsider, I think it's called Outsider.
Yeah.
That song slaps.
That song
So
is amazing. I think I want to do a vocal cover of it soon, because like I do vocals.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's
like,
awesome.
It should be really fun once I actually get into it. But let's see. Got the top 5 records. We knocked that off the chart. Kind of just thinking on where you came from physically versus, what's going on around the world and stuff right now. Just like all the crazy stuff happening. Let's see. is there anything in Canada that you are really, really proud of that like you would never let anybody like talk down upon, I guess? I don't know.
I guess universal healthcare, like
Mm.
it's like I'd feel a lot worse off without it, so
Right,
gotta
there
shout
you
that
go.
out.
Healthcare. Boom, bada bing.
Yeah.
That's what I've
Just
heard
nice
about.
for people to be taken care of. I always hear these stories about people like in the States, they get hurt or sick or something, and then it's just like, here's a couple
Thousands.
$1,000 bill. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, it's not leisure. You shouldn't be shelling out for it. No one
Exactly.
wants to go to a hospital, right?
Yeah, and a part of me, like, definitely, hands down, I have been conditioned as far as the mindset of the states and stuff. Which I'm American, so I'm allowed to say this, and like anybody who has shit to say about this, it's like, well, you're probably calling me out because you know it's true, but it's like it's definitely a more selfish mental environment and stuff. It's definitely still that survival of the fittest thing, and I think that healthcare and like $1,000 like thousands of dollars just for getting like a little boo boo or something in a car wreck, dude, like that shit hurts financially. And I was very lucky. I got in an accident like let's see, about 2 months ago now. I barely like I got out of there okay, which is all that
Glad to hear.
matters. Yes, it's awesome to hear. My first car got wrecked, and I was like, oh no,
Oh,
I don't even care about me anymore. My car is gone, and they totaled a little bit ago. But dude, it hurts. It financially hurts. Like when you actually do get in bad circumstances. So it's like the most beneficiary thingy here in the States is either you have like tens of like you're let's see, you're at least making 5 digits a year as far as salary. If you're not, you are screwed. You are beyond screwed. And you got to be lucky. So lucky and either making 5 or 6 digit salary a year. Otherwise, you're screwed. And I'm like, I hate that because survival of
yeah.
the fittest. I don't think should be a thing anymore. It's 2021. Like we should
Yeah,
all be working
straight up.
together. But
Yeah.
yeah,
We should
there
all
you
take
go.
care of each other and stuff.
Exactly. But there you go. A little bit of us learning about Alex Sevigny, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
close enough. I
Close enough. Ah, dang it.
No, it's a
Well,
hard last name. I never get mad about it if people mess it up.
yeah, that and I'm like way too American, like Wonder Bread white. But
That's
but
fair.
we learned a lot about Alex. So I mean that was really cool. That's really what matters. And we also kind of like not bonked heads, of course, but just compared things between Canada and the States because Canada sounds so nice. It seems like a decent place to move to, and that's like speaking with the mind of, oh, it's naturally colder up there, or you got free healthcare and stuff. And I'm just like, I wonder if that's going to be a thing someday. So, with that
That
being
would be
said,
sick.
no, I completely agree. Either because
Uh,
like I might be going east to North Carolina, but I don't know if I want to or not because that's just stuffy and wet and
That's fair. They've got the higher humidity out there, I think.
exactly. You were gonna say something though?
Yeah, the one thing I will say is like Canada does have an issue with like cost of living. So things
Oh.
do tend to be like a little bit more expensive because of it, but there are places that you can find that are reasonable, I think. But
Right. So like kind of the housing market, but it's like that's kind of
oh
a
yeah,
thing here in the States too. And that's why it seems like there is like behind the scenes just like kind of getting into more conspiracy or just like theory, little food for thought. It
Ooh.
seems like there is a massive migration to the east. Like they're trying to implement a massive migration to the east. The housing market in the West is absolutely awful right now, at least
Oh yeah.
compared to the eastern seaboard in the United States. And California, like obviously that's the worst of the worst because that's Southwest. That's where, that's where Hollywood is. That's where all these massive places are. That's
Silicon
where
Valley.
Silicon Valley, yes. Death Valley, that's another
Yeah.
one. It seems like intentionally there is an intention for everybody to go east, and I mean I'm willing to do it if the housing market is good over in North Carolina, which it seems to be. So there's that. But just like crazy stuff. crazy, massive things happening, or at least it seems like there are crazy, massive things happening. Tongue twisters, man. And I'm a call agent
Oh, yeah.
for a living. Goodness me.
Oh, damn.
I like basically rap for a living.
Nice.
Nah, but we'll go ahead and move into the second session of this episode for the Anatomy Podcast with Mr. Alex. There are multiple projects that you are involved with, that you contribute your creative process to. You said when we were first talking, really, and first jumping back and forth on Messenger, that you have like 4 main projects, which is like Divine Destruction, the White Bear Process, let's see, Litterbox Massacre Project?
White Bear Project.
Oh, did I say plural?
Well, you just said process.
Oh, right. Well, oops.
Which sounds really cool too. Now I got to think about that.
Rebranding purposes or something.
Yeah.
And let's see, we got the 4th one, which is I forgot it. How did I forget it? Got Litterbox Massacre.
Did you say Divine Destruction?
Yeah, Divine Destruction.
Oh, then Planet Killer maybe?
Planet Killer, there you go.
One of those.
Yeah. So you got these 4 primary bands that you contribute your energy to and process. Tell us a little bit about that, like your involvement, the depth of involvement with the projects, all that fun stuff.
So yeah, I guess like in a nutshell, basically, I would consider myself like the instrumentalist, songwriter / producer.
Mm.
So I'll work closely with vocalists in those bands. Well, and in Planet Killer, it's more like a full band thing. So maybe I'll go into that after. But
Yeah, okay.
for the other 3, largely I'll work closely with the vocalists and write the songs and kind of like discuss ideas and stuff.
Yeah.
And usually then the vocalist will come up with like lyrics, and we'll talk about the lyrics often to work stuff out, and then they all record vocals at themselves, or they go to places to get them recorded, and then they'll send them to me, and I'll mix and master everything together, and we'll send the files back and forth and stuff. And
Right.
Once that's all together, it just comes down to like releasing and promotion and stuff.
Right. Which, do you and the vocalist per se, or the people that you're collaborating with, do you guys usually promote on your own, or is that really where Plague Promotions came in after a bit of time?
Mostly kind of on our own. Plague Promotions is more of Bryce's baby, I'd say, from Divine Destruction.
Mm.
So I can't speak too much to that, but
Right.
basically, yeah, he wanted to set up like a group, like a community where we could push stuff and get other underground artists to push their stuff as well, and kind of get that community going.
Yeah, and that's really where it counts. When you're in a circumstance like that, to where you're making stuff, you're cooking up stuff, but you don't really per se maybe have a social grasp on like everybody around you. Like that's really one way to do it, is building community. It's what it's been about since, for example, counterculture first started. You got all these weird musicians and artists that people aren't really into, but it's like it's out there, so somebody has to like it. So community is definitely the utmost important part about like promoting, and just obviously getting in touch with people who like the stuff you make. That's also really cool. So I guess out of those 4 projects, my first question would be, which one was first?
That's a great question. So Litterbox Massacre was actually the first one. And so Alex Ives is my good friend. He's in Scotland. He's the vocalist.
Oh, shit.
I started working with him actually in, I think, 2014. We had a project back then called Sorrow Spell.
Okay.
Where it was just like meat and potatoes deathcore kind of thing, a little bit of tech influence.
Right.
And eventually that kind of spun out, and Alex Ives started Artificial Pathogen.
Okay.
Which I've always been like a little bit involved with, to varying levels.
Yeah.
And then, so somewhere between the end of Sorrow Spell, while Artificial Pathogen was going, Alex Ives had the idea to be like, because we both love cats, like huge cat dads.
Awesome.
And he was like, yo, man, do you want to just do like a joke slamming cat themed death metal project? And I was like, hell yeah, dude.
And that's literally where it is. Like,
yeah. So we got that started in around 2018, I think, maybe late 2017.
That makes sense. Yeah. That's when I was starting to hear about it, really.
Yeah, it's been a while. And then we in Letterbox Massacre did a song with Larry Harper, who
Yes.
our mutual friend, and Bryce from Divine Destruction. They featured on it because they were in Disciples of Exile at the time.
Okay.
And so they featured on a song and we collaborated. And then after that, they both kind of hit me up wanting to work with me and like do music together. So that's where kind of the seeds of the White Bear Project and Divine Destruction kind of took place.
Oh, fun. Okay.
So it all kind of stems from each other, which is really cool.
Yeah, no, that's actually really cool. So, dude, I love how experimental and how much fun it seems that musicians in our scene have. You got a band that's basically themed off of cats, but it's still heavy, heavy fucking metal. You got the White Bear Project, which, dude, I remember about 2 years ago, really, getting into the White Bear Project. And I'm like, what the hell? Larry is so nuts with his vocals. But, like, it's so surreal to think that just by reaching out and kind of establishing this podcast and stuff, now I'm talking with the guy, right, who contributed the instrumentals for the White Bear Project thus far. I mean, obviously there were other people involved, but, like, you know, you were still there. You were still in that process. And that's just so surreal to me that I'm talking to the guy who did all the blast beats and the crazy guitar riffs among this just Blair Witch ass vocal style, in which I'm like, how is he? He's a tea kettle, dude. Like you got people like the gentleman from the vocalist, all of them so far from Beyond Deviation, who I only found out about recently with their most recent single. But before that, it was Makhluk, which I also interviewed recently. That was fucking dope. He's really cool, dude. And you got Larry Harper, in which we are all just, for one, very, very humble. This is something I like to highlight in every single episode, just so you guys understand. But very, very humble, very fun, very experimental, open-minded community we got going on here. So I guess kind of talking about Larry and the White Bear Project, not process. Um, how was, like, I don't know, how was the creative process among all these projects? Like, how did they differ?
That's a great question because yeah, I've got like all these projects and I'm not writing the same stuff.
Right.
Not yet, at least. Maybe, maybe one day. But
Right.
yeah, so it basically just starts with like often the vocalist that I work with would be like, yo, I'm feeling this sort of vibe with, I mean, in Larry's case, he hit me up. He's like, yo, I want to do some stuff kind of like Methwitch. And I'd never listened to Methwitch before.
Makes so much fucking sense. That's awesome.
Yeah. And I listened to it. I was like, this shit is wild. So like, big shout out to Methwitch. That band is so sick.
They really are.
And yes, basically, I'll just kind of like riff off those ideas, send them over, and if it fits, we'll go forward with it. Not everything is always the perfect match, so
Yeah.
sometimes you gotta like massage parts of the songs and stuff.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean that's fucking badass. I had a feeling, man. I had a feeling because when I listen to the White Bear Project, that's exactly what I think of. I think of Methwitch. I think of Makhluk. I think of all these just heavier, just chaotic ass bands that are out there in the scene. And now from those bands, you have projects, I would argue, such as Worm Shepherd, who again I interviewed recently, and they have a very similar vibe to Methwitch, but more in like the very just epic movie soundtrack Castlevania vibe. Like
Yeah, with like that little bit of
atmosphere.
that black metal influence in there too.
Exactly. Like I listened to Worm Shepherd, I listened to Methwitch, I listened to the White Bear Project, and I just imagine being in the perspective of the monster who is hunting down and just slaughtering all these either stupid, ignorant, very, very adventurous but dangerously adventurous white people. They're
Yeah.
usually white, so just this monster either trying to slumber, just like sleep peacefully for eternity, do their thing in the woods or something else. Like that's the type of music I envision, is like kind of just exploring that perspective. And perspective is key, people. Perspective is everything. Like that's also what this podcast is established for, is just acquiring and absorbing the stories of all these various awesome individuals in the scene. So let's see. You got the Litterbox Massacre, which started it all. We discussed and kind of touched on the White Bear project. Let's go ahead and knock the other two out. Just talking about your 4 primary projects. Like, I don't know. Let's see. Has what I don't know. Like, obviously neutral, very very neutral, no judgment, no opinion, no, like, none of that here. What has been the project you've enjoyed working on the most?
Ooh, that's like asking a mom who her favorite kids are, and she's like, "Oh, they're all the same," but really, no, I like little Jimmy the most or something.
Right.
I guess it like comes in waves. So if I'm speaking just to this year, like
Yes.
wrapping up the Divine Destruction EP, My Suffering was definitely a challenge, but it's been a blast just working on that.
Mm-hmm.
For Planet Killer, I've had a lot of fun working. Like we're putting together our new EP, trying to get that out.
That should be fun.
Yeah, and been having a ton of fun with that. We've all come together and contributed a lot to the EP,
Mm-hmm.
working together with that. But yeah, I mean, I can't really say one's more fun, because then we switch over to Litterbox and I'm making like cat themed slam riffs and stuff, and that's always fun, right?
Right. They're just experimental, open, like, again, like we said before, open-minded, just creativity. You can do whatever you want, but just implement the heaviest shit you can. Like, that's...
Yeah, straight up. And then, of course, White Bear Project is always fun, just dialing in the chaos
Mm-hmm. Right.
stuff. And yeah, Larry, phenomenal vocalist, like you said. Just get some vocals back from him, and I'm just like, whoa.
Like year 1 or release 1, you're thinking, yeah, this guy's pretty peak, and even now you're just like, holy shit, this dude's still peaking, he hasn't stopped.
Oh yeah, always super committed to improving himself, so a lot of respect for that.
Mm-hmm. And to obviously all the other vocalists that are involved with these projects. But those were just the first 4. I've seen recently on Plague Promotions that you are indeed involved with other projects. So
That's true.
what are these other projects that you are involved in? Let's go ahead and promote them and give them a little spotlight too here on the podcast.
Yeah, so some other projects I'm involved with. One is Slaughter the False Prophet.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like project. The vocalist's name is Alec, I think Lopez is his last name.
Mm-hmm.
I think he changed it on Facebook a couple times, but
For branding
Yeah,
purposes.
maybe, yeah. So we do like super blackened, evil sounding
Mhm.
deathcore stuff, very like satanic themed
If
stuff like that.
if I'm remembering correctly, as of recently, in this case, Alex Lopez, he uploaded a music video to Slam Worldwide that just immediately reminded me of Devin to Ember's, like the Frozen Lake, because he did corpse paint and stuff, right?
Yeah, so Devin is like a huge inspiration to Alec, and so
There we go.
it's just yeah.
There we go.
Very
That's fucking
inspired
awesome.
by.
So we got Slaughter the False Prophet. What are some of the other projects you're involved in?
Let's see.
Rapid clicking intensive.
It's let me just check something real quick, because as soon as I see it, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, that's what I got going on.
Right. Well, I mean, I can only imagine, dude, that someone that's creating and contributing as much like substance as you are to, well, more than 4 apparently. I can only imagine you're just like, which band is that again?
It's just a whirlwind in my brain of music.
Dude, yeah.
But yeah, so Artificial Pathogen announced a new single, and I was very, very lucky and very stoked to work with them on the mixing and mastering for it.
Okay.
So I'm really hyped for that to come out. There's, I think, a couple teaser videos out for it right now.
Oh, shoot. Okay. That's
we were
awesome.
just dialing in the final changes for it recently, so
Yeah.
Can't tell anyone a release date at this time, but very
Right.
excited for that one.
And kind of going, kind of circling back a little bit, artificial pathogen is a byproduct per se of the same vocalist from Divine Destruction, right?
Litterbox.
Litterbox. Okay, silly me.
That vocalist.
Well,
Sorry, there's a lot of vocalists to keep track of.
right? Yeah, no, I would be the same way. But yeah, no, that's really cool. Let's see. What are you shaking up or having to shake up with these newer bands that you haven't had to before? Because I mean, you write deathcore constantly. You basically just write cat themed deathcore. You write chaotic Blair Witch deathcore. You write which is kind of I would like no shit talking on Divine Destruction, of course, but you got pretty like vanilla, pretty standard deathcore with Divine Destruction, or at least for the stuff that I've heard so far. And then let's see, there is Planet Killer, which I would argue because I thought I heard two vocalists the first time I listened to it, so I'm like, okay, this is basically a new Angel Maker. Like, what is like what's different? What are you shaking up with these newer projects, my guy?
um, yeah, well, I'm always trying to experiment, mix in a little unexpected influence here and there. Like sometimes I'll be writing the deathcore and I'll be like, maybe I'll throw in a little gent riff here. Not enough that people are going to be like, oh no, it's gent or something.
It's
but
totally
just enough
gent,
that they're
man.
like, ooh, yeah.
Yeah. A little bit of appetizers for all the gentlemen out there. Ha ha ha. Jared Dines reference.
Good one.
um, but
Yeah,
let's
just
see.
a little seasoning here and there, just sprinkle something else.
Right? But yeah, no. So you like not only do you write the instrumentals, of course, but being that you are involved with the recording process and stuff, you I can only imagine you have a little bit of knowledge with sound engineering, mixing and mastering. How is the process, I guess, like kind of getting into that? Just like, because obviously we've milked all of the bands that you're in. We've learned about the different creative processes and stuff, how you make and contribute to all these projects. So kind of going back and learning a little bit more about yourself before we go ahead and get ready to call it quits for the day. How did you get into mixing and mastering? How did you get into sound engineering? Basically the same questions as before, but applying to those two.
For sure. So I guess the first time I ever recorded, my dad had, like in our basement when I was a kid, like a really DIY kind of setup, like a old like mixer. And so I just remember like the first time ever sitting down, plugging my guitar in and recording it and being like, whoa, I can like basically like it's like writing words on a page but with the guitar instead.
Oh, right.
And I really enjoyed that. And then fast forward a ton of years, when I was in high school, the school that I went to had a music composition class that had a large focus on recording. So they had a couple studios in the school, and I remember not doing any of the classwork really, and just kind of like bumming around in the studios, recording stuff, working on stuff, kind of just like learning by doing with all of it.
Okay. So, I mean, basically, what I'm understanding is that when it came to all the sound engineering stuff that you do, you had to start from somewhere. So you started with some pretty at-home, easy beginner's equipment. And then when you went into high school, I mean, you are self-taught still. You just utilized the resources that they had on hand. And, I mean, yeah, that creative process, that knowledge just contributed to all of what are your 6 projects now, correct?
Yeah, that sounds right. I'm sure there's a few more kicking around too that I forgot to mention, but
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, there you have it, folks. We have Mr. Alex, and just in case, how do you pronounce your last name?
Sevigny.
Sevigny.
So
like the
I
number
like to,
7, yay.
and then yeah, exactly. Actually, I was just gonna say that.
Boom! There we go. I'm learning. So we had Mr. Alex Sevigny of both the White Bear Project, Divine Destruction, Planet Killer, Litterbox Massacre, Slaughter the False
That's a hard
Prophet, a little bit, and artificial pathogen.
Yeah.
So we got a man working and just devoting to 6 different projects with plenty more that he just couldn't collect, and that's okay. Thank you so much today for deciding to take the time to talk with us about your process. Is there anything other than those 6 projects that you would want to like kind of promote, communicate, anything you want to say before we head out?
Well, first, I just want to say thanks so much for having me on this podcast. It's been a great time, and I really enjoy the opportunity to tell my story a little bit
Oh yeah,
with you. So thank you so much for that.
of course.
And yeah, aside from that, just stay tuned. Lots more music coming.
Lots more music coming. There we go, folks. You be sure to have a great day.